The story begins with Raishin Akaban waking up with his automaton puppet named Yaya while on their way to the city of machines. Suddenly, something goes wrong with the train, and it doesn't stop at the final station. Raishin and Yaya decide to stop the train before it's too late. They run along the rooftops of the train cars to the front. Yaya jumps in front of the train, and Raishin enhances her with his ability. They manage to stop the train. A girl approaches Raishin and inquires about his abilities. Raishin explains that he is a puppeteer and Yaya is his puppet. Yaya adds that she is obedient, even in bed. They arrive at the academy gates, which signify a point of no return. Raishin states that Yaya is merely a tool in achieving his goal. During the entrance test, he ranks near the bottom, and Yaya tries to console him. Raishin asks a teacher how to enter the night party and what it takes to become a participant. The teacher explains the academy's purpose, how to become a sage, and what will happen if their mechanism is destroyed. That evening, Raishin formulates a plan to become one of the sages, deciding to participate in the annual night party tournament, where puppeteers compete to prove their skills. Yaya tries to comfort him. The next day, Raishin challenges a strong girl who ranks 100th among all students. Other students intervene, attacking the girl and disrupting their duel. Raishin defends her and defeats the attackers. The girl thanks him for saving her, and he notices that her puppet is severely damaged. Raishin and Yaya sleep together, as her proximity to him accelerates her recovery. The following day, the girl, now revealed to be a princess, and Raishin share a meal together. At that moment, Raishin spots his nemesis, who has caused him much pain. He charges at him, but the princess tries to stop him. The princess notices that Raishin is ready to fight the strongest person. Raishin recalls his past, where Magnus caused him and his family immense pain. However, he realizes he is too weak to do anything about it. In the evening, Raishin accepts that he can't defeat Magnus, and Yaya tries to comfort him by hugging him. The next morning, he meets Felix, who offers him a chance to join the top 100 students. During class, Raishin ponders if this might be a deal with the devil, but the teacher quickly puts him in his place. The teacher explains that puppets have feelings and souls. After class, Raishin talks with Felix, which the princess notices. She discusses with her puppet that Raishin is strong. Felix tells Raishin about the puppet eater and the disappearance of students, and that Raishin must catch it because he is very capable. During their conversation, an advisor arrives and informs them that a puppet was found eaten. At the crime scene, they realize the puppet's heart was ripped out. The advisor takes Raishin aside and reveals that Charlotte possesses a forbidden puppet made from a special prohibited material. Back in his room, Raishin contemplates their conversation and plans to track down the puppet eater. His thoughts are interrupted by the princess, who invites him on a date. Raishin goes to the crime scene, realizing he is being used as bait. He invites the girl to leave her mechanisms behind and go on a date. They walk hand in hand, and after a stroll, Raishin invites her to dinner. He shares about himself, his thoughts, and his fighting style, revealing that he dropped out of training and has been practicing technomancy for only 3 years. The princess talks about her feelings for Felix. As they return to the academy, they notice that the puppet eater has made its move. Raishin and the girl arrive at the crime scene, where they find another puppet with its heart ripped out, the same one they fought during the attack. Felix asks Charlotte to stay out of the investigation, urging her to leave it to them. He hurts the princess's feelings to protect her. Returning home, I meet Raishin with a cooked, albeit empty, dinner. Raishin hugs the puppet and calms her down by giving her a gift. He shares his suspicions about the killer, explaining that Charlotte might not be guilty. Later, Raishin receives a call from his teacher, informing him that Charlotte hasn't returned to the girls' dormitory. Determined, he sets out to find her. As he leaves the dormitory, he encounters Shoko, the creator of Yaya. Shoko asks why he hasn't killed any puppets yet and tells him about the cannibal. Raishin speaks of his most cherished person and his desire to protect her. Shoko removes Yaya's restraints, revealing her immense power but warning that she is not immortal. Shoko recalls their first meeting when Raishin was on the brink of death. She saved him and gave him the chance to seek revenge. The entire committee searches for Charlotte after finding numerous magical chains in her room. Raishin offers to help, as he is an assistant to the disciplinary committee. He enters a storage room where puppets are not allowed to avoid damaging the mechanisms. Raishin steals a key from the teacher and opens a mechanism, discovering a girl inside a capsule and realizing the teacher is a puppet. The puppet attacks him and deceives the guards. Severely injured, Raishin Raishin is carried out on a stretcher while Yaya goes berserk. Felix meets the princess and reveals that he is the true culprit, confessing that he is the cannibal seeking to become a sage. Charlotte saves Raishin, who has fully recovered. Raishin steps forward to defend Charlotte. Her puppet reveals to him that Charlotte has been searching for her family's lost relics. Long ago, all of their mechanisms were taken from them, her parents disappeared, and the princess left school, blaming herself for what happened in her childhood. Charlotte dreams of restoring her family so they can live together again. Raishin pledges to protect the princess. Raishin and the cannibal face off in a fierce battle. During the fight, Raishin destroys the face of the cannibal's puppet, only to discover that the puppet was once human. He offers the puppet a chance to step aside, but she refuses. The battle intensifies, and Raishin is wounded, but he urges Yaya to stay focused on the fight. Meanwhile, the teacher asks Magnus for help, but Magnus notices that the teacher is hiding his true power. Raishin taps into his own power, vowing to protect the princess, even if the whole world turns against him. He exposes the cannibal's secret. The cannibal reveals a powerful ability of his puppet, which transforms into a corrosive white mist. However, Yaya quickly overcomes the puppet and then defeats the cannibal. After the battle, Raishin apologizes to Yaya for all the pain he caused her during the fight. He then offers his assistance to the princess. Magnus remarks that Raishin might have challenged him as an act of vengeance, handing him a gift containing the ashes of his loved ones. The teacher questions Magnus about his forbidden puppets, but receives no answer. Raishin is honored at a ceremony, declared a candidate for sagehood, and presented with personalized gloves. The teacher congratulates him on becoming an official student, revealing that she gave testimony on his behalf to clear his name. The princess gifts Raishin an amulet that complements his fighting style. The next day, Raishin finds a girl tied up in his room, having fallen into her own trap. Yaya immediately becomes jealous of her. The girl thanks Raishin for saving her, and, as a gesture of gratitude, prepares a bento for him. She intended to add a sleeping powder but couldn't find any, so she just added extra salt instead. Afterward, she goes to take a shower, soaking her clothes, and asks Raishin to warm her up. When Raishin asks her what she really wants, she bluntly replies that she wants to kill him. Raishin later tells Charlotte about the girl, and Charlotte reveals that this girl was her first rival. Raishin and the princess observe as the girl tries to set another trap for him, but ends up getting caught in it herself. Then her brother arrives, leading to a tense confrontation. Raishin steps in to protect the girl's puppet, and a heated exchange follows, which the princess eventually diffuses. The girl explains that her brother is angry with her. Raishin and Charlotte start questioning other students about the girl's specialty. At one point, Charlotte asks Raishin what kind of breasts he prefers, and Yaya interrupts the conversation, causing the girl to slap Raishin and storm off. The teacher then explains the rules of the night party and advises how to proceed. Frey speaks with her father, who tells her that she is incredibly talented and must defeat everyone so their family can stay together. That night, Raishin dreams of leaving his village to become strong. He wakes up to find Frey in his room, attempting to kill him. The next morning, Raishin tells the teacher everything. The princess then informs Raishin about Frey and her family, explaining that they have bribed many people. Suddenly, Raishin is attacked by one of Frey's beasts, which she is unable to control. Frey apologizes and treats his wounds. Raishin asks her why she wants him dead, but before she can answer, Yaya interrupts the conversation, and Frey leaves. Later, Kurosai appears before Raishin for covert spying. Raishin and Kurosai activate invisibility and sneak into someone else's house, where they notice several dogs. Meanwhile, Yaya is feeling down, and Charlotte's puppet tries to comfort her. Out of nowhere, Yaya is attacked. The puppet is gravely injured by a gunshot, prompting Professor and Seka to discuss Raishin's strength and the power of his puppet. Meanwhile, Raishin and Puppet infiltrate an enemy's house, where they encounter a dog who detects their presence. The dog reveals its abilities and explains that the puppet is scheduled to be dismantled. Hearing this, Raishin offers the puppet a chance to escape with them and save itself. He then reveals that Fry is determined to kill him, and the doll decides to show them everything. Despite the assassination attempt, Yaya survives, and the puppet tries to help her. Shur arrives and attempts to transfer her mana to Yaya, but it doesn't work. Meanwhile, the professor approaches a doctor to form a contract, seeking more information about Raishin. During this time, Raishin learns about Frey's tragic past, where her puppets went mad and tried to kill them. The dog shares that Frey has a kind heart, and they come across children who were artificially raised to strengthen the family. They are spotted by security and have to escape through a trash chute. The dog dog begins to understand why Frey wants to kill Raishin, realizing that if Raishin wins, all of Frey's dog puppets will be dismantled. As they continue through the sewers, they are attacked, and the dog sacrifices itself to protect Raishin. Despite Raishin's attempts to save the dog, it chooses to give its life for him. Loki finds Frey waiting for Raishin and tells her that he won't be coming back, as their father has taken care of him. However, a severely wounded Raishin suddenly appears. He apologizes to Frey for Yomi's death, admitting that the dog died because of him. Frey thanks him for giving Yomi a brief moment of freedom. When Raishin returns home, Yaya greets him, and Sika also appears, sharing insights about the lives of forbidden puppets and the ongoing war with the army. Sika gives Raishin a mission to steal the Rabier contour, as he is now working for the army. Raishin has no choice but to accept. Later, at a gathering of the sages, the night of battles is declared open. The 100th ranked student faces off against the 99th, and Raishin, recalling what happened to the dog puppet, decides to protect Yaya from an impending sword strike. Raishin briefly loses consciousness and recalls the painful memory of being rejected by his own father. Yaya, overwhelmed with worry, struggles to regain her composure. Loki, who has left, returns to his father, who scolds him for failing to kill Raishin. Despite his true rank being 7, Loki fought under the guise of a 99th ranked student, insisting that he must kill Raishin. Meanwhile, Raishin is carried away on a stretcher, severely wounded. Yaya, watching helplessly, blames herself for his condition, but Aurora, her sister, consoles her with a comforting embrace. The princess anxiously waits for Raishin, falling asleep on a bench as she worries about his safety. The girl and her puppet discover a weakness in Loki's puppet and decide to inform Raishin as soon as he regains consciousness. Yaya is also deeply troubled by Raishin's condition. The doctor informs the teacher that Raishin is hovering on the brink of death. Simultaneously, Loki and Frey engage in a fierce battle, but Frey is noticeably weaker. Her puppet begins to lose control, forcibly draining mana from Frey. Loki pleads with the puppet to stop resisting, but Raishin intervenes, attempting to protect Frey. In a surprising turn, Loki saves Raishin from the dog's attack, allowing Raishin to reach Frey and rescue her. Later, Raishin invites Seka to the medical ward to help save Frey and retrieve her magical contour. Seka reveals that Frey, like her puppet, has her own contour and is an artificial human. Outraged, Raishin expresses his desire to kill the sage responsible for creating artificial humans, but Seka forbids him from doing so. Raishin then visits Frey, who has just awakened, and reassures her. Determined to end the madness, he decides to destroy the facility where the artificial children are being raised. However, the princess intercepts him, forbidding him from going. Despite her anger, she eventually lets him go. Raishin infiltrates the facility and begins dismantling everything in sight, determined to stop the horrific practice of creating artificial humans. Just as he is about to achieve his goal, Loki appears, standing in his way. Freya begins searching for Raishin, but the princess informs her that he is not there and has gone to the orphanage to free the dogs. The teacher discovers where Raishin has gone and offers Freya a condition in order to accompany her. Freya agrees, and they set off together. Meanwhile, Loki is eliminating his family's puppets, taking matters into his own hands. As Raishin tries to destroy the facility, Loki appears, shielding him and attempting to convince him that his efforts will be in vain. Just then, they encounter Lucifer, the elder sage and Loki's father. A fierce battle ensues between the two and Lucifer, with the teacher and Freya observing from a distance. Lucifer proves to be an incredibly formidable opponent, nearly defeating them. However, Loki expresses his deep trust in his sister, which inspires Raishin to propose a plan for victory. During the fight, Raishin questions Lucifer's motivations for deceiving Freya, to which Lucifer coldly replies that it was all in the name of progress and advancement. Despite the odds, Raishin and Loki manage to defeat Lucifer. In the aftermath, Lucifer is arrested by a secret security organization due to his unethical experiments on humans. Raishin and Loki are both recovering in the hospital when Freya visits them, expressing her gratitude for saving her and inviting Raishin to become part of their family. Raishin runs away, hiding from Loki and Yaya. Later, Raishin and Freya have a heartfelt conversation in which Freya expresses her desire to restore both her and her brother's hearts to a normal state, understanding that they must continue fighting for this goal. When Raishin pays attention to the roof, he notices a girl trying to jump off the roof. Without hesitation, he rushes to save her, calling for Yaya's help. The girl resists rescue, telling Raishin that he can do whatever he wants with her and that she wishes to share his life journey. Yaya, feeling jealous, becomes distressed. Suddenly, Cher appears and, with the help of her puppet, demolishes a nearby chapel, disrupting the moment. During the celebration of the Academy's centennial, chaos erupts as a dragon-like automaton suddenly appears and destroys the tower, sending the crowd into a panic. In the aftermath, Frey tends to Raishin's wounds, and they discuss the recent events, particularly Cher's involvement. Frey mentions that the culprit could be Cher's younger sister, who has attempted to end her own life multiple times. Raishin, eager to avoid a medical examination that would disqualify him from participating in the evening battles, approaches the doctor to decline it. The doctor, however, brings up the tower's destruction and blames Cher, but Raishin defends her, much to Yaya's disapproval. Frey offers to help Raishin find the princess, and they talk about a contract they have 48 hours to fulfill. Determined, Raishin continues his search for Cher. When Raishin tries to speak with Cher's younger sister, he can't find her in the dormitory. Frey then uses a pair of her sister's underwear to send her dogs on the scent. They track her down just as she's about to hang herself, but Raishin manages to save her in time. During the subsequent interrogation, she escapes. Raishin resumes his search through the forest at night and encounters Cher, who tearfully threatens to kill him if he continues to interfere in her life. With tears in her eyes, Cher flies off, recalling a conversation with her sister from years ago, when she returned to bring misfortune into her life. Raishin and Yaya decide to return to the evening battles, but their opponent never shows up. Cher's younger sister makes another suicide attempt, but this time, Cher stops her. Later, Raishin goes to his teacher to figure out what's happening with the girl, suspecting that Felix the cannibal's family might be involved. It turns out that Cher's family made a grave mistake when their automaton bit a child from the cannibal's family, setting off a series of unfortunate events. That evening, Raishin returns to his room and discusses his plan with Yaya. He notices the spreading rumors and negative talk about Cher and himself. Suddenly, Cher appears, consumed by rage, and attempts to kill the head of the academy, oblivious to her sister standing nearby. Yaya arrives at the scene of the attack, frantically searching for Raishin, but he's nowhere to be found. Her teacher stops her from panicking. Meanwhile, Charlotte is attacked by guards, but a member of another family comes to her rescue. Cher claims she has fulfilled her mission by killing the head of the academy, but she is confronted with the truth. They demand proof, and reveal that she nearly killed her own sister and Raishin in the process. Raishin and Henrietta discover an underground labyrinth and proceed together, with Raishin teasing her along the way. Frey, determined to find Raishin, is frustrated when the area is cordoned off, preventing her from entering. The teacher informs the secret council of the situation. As they venture deeper into the labyrinth, Henriette nearly falls, but Raishin catches her, gradually earning her trust, despite her general distrust of men. As they converse, Magnus's automaton suddenly appears, questioning whether Raishin is an enemy of its master. Magnus himself soon arrives, accompanied by the head of the academy, who warns Raishin not to act recklessly. Raishin confides in Henriette, revealing that Magnus killed his entire family and that he seeks revenge. Henriette then discloses that she is not actually a student of the academy. Unexpectedly, Raishin is attacked, but Magnus steps in to protect him. The assailant retreats, and they are soon discovered by the academy's security. Meanwhile, the cannibal family torments Cher. Raishin, determined to help, kidnaps Cher's sister, forcing the cannibal family to search for her. This leads to a confrontation where Raishin engages in battle with them. The opponent proves to be significantly stronger, and Raishin and his automaton are clearly losing the battle. Just as things seem dire, Loke and Frey arrive to aid them. Meanwhile, a butler reports back on the failed attack on Raishin, leading to a discussion among the families about their plans. Cher's sister confides that both she and Cher are destined to be killed by morning. Upon hearing this, Raishin becomes furious at her for not revealing this sooner. In his frustration, Raishin requests one of Frey's dogs for help. He then meets with Seika, who tries to dissuade him from his path, but Raishin refuses to back down, leading to Seika's departure. Cher listens to her automaton and realizes she has been wrong. Raishin finds her and demands an apology. A fierce battle ensues between them, during which Raishin leaps at Cher, declaring his intent to protect her. However, they are soon discovered by the butler, who attacks them and nearly defeats them. As the fight rages on, he reveals that he is a divine automaton, a powerful and advanced mechanism. Seika is deeply worried about Raishin, but the mechanical constructs try to calm her down. Meanwhile, Cher's sister attempts to take her own life, but Frey stops her and manages to console her. Frey then tells Henriette that Cher had confessed her desire to handle everything on her own. Frey's dogs soon sense that Raishin is in trouble, prompting Frey to rush to his aid. Raishin and Cher continue their battle against the divine automaton. Raishin deliberately exposes his back, allowing Yaya to take advantage of the opportunity. He transfers all his mana to Yaya, paralyzing the divine automaton. With the help of Frey's dogs, they locate another puppeteer, almost securing victory. However, the opponent proves stronger than anticipated. Sensing Raishin's dire situation, Yaya unleashes her immense power, forcing the divine automaton and its puppeteer to retreat. After the fight, Cher makes a playful comment, comparing Henriette's chest to her own. Meanwhile, Magnus stays awake all night, observing the battle. The teacher warns Magnus that creating automata from humans is forbidden, but Magnus remains silent on the matter. Raishin is taken to the hospital to recover. Cher visits him to apologize for all the trouble she's caused. The teacher arrives, informing them that an unknown benefactor has paid for the restoration of the tower, and that she has arranged for Cher's sister to stay at the academy. Raishin silently vows to uncover the truth behind everything. He tells Yaya that he will become even stronger.